Join us on a visit to the wonderful Seville, a city that, with its rich history, incredible architecture and delicious food, will steal your heart. Let's go together to explore the magic of Seville. In this video, we'll take you on a journey through 16 reasons why Seville is truly one of the most beautiful cities in the world. From its enchanting neighborhoods to its mouth-watering cuisine, Seville is a city that has something for everyone. So sit back, relax and get ready to discover Seville. In the description of the video, you will find links to all the places we mentioned. Hola, ¿qué tal? Hello, I am Tony Galvez from Road Trip Spain and Portugal, where we help you plan the perfect trip with practical information and insider tips. Let's go with our list in strict alphabetical order. Let's start with our favorite monument of the city and the place you shouldn't miss. The Real Alcázar de Sevilla was originally an Arab fortress. In 1248, Ferdinand III of Castile reconquered Seville, and the Alcázar became the seat of the crown and local power. In the following decades, other Castilian kings added buildings to the original fortress. Although the Alcázar shares many artistic and decorative elements with the Alhambra in Granada, it is important to understand that the Alcázar palaces you will visit were commissioned by Christian monarchs, while much of the Alhambra was built by Muslim sultans. UNESCO declared the Alcázar a World Heritage Site in 1987 as an exceptional witness to the Moorish and Christian civilization of Andalusia. Spend between 2 and 4 hours touring it, depending on your interest in history. It is a place with so many incredible and beautiful corners that we are sure that a visit to the Alcázar will be one of the highlights of your stay in Seville. The Alcázar receives many visitors. It is essential that you book your tickets in advance, and if you cannot make that reservation, try to join the ticket office queue half an hour before the first hour of the day, when a few tickets go on sale, which fly quite fast. Right now, admission to the Alcázar also includes same-day or next-day entry to the Antiquarium and the Triana Ceramics Center, which we'll talk about later in the video. It is very easy to get to the Alcázar, which occupies a large area next to Seville Cathedral, the Archive of Indies and the Santa Cruz Quarter. The ticket office is located inside the Patio de las Banderas, while the entrance for the visit is through the Puerta del León. The Archivo General de Indias, or simply Archivo de Indias, is a free attraction in Seville, in the heart of the city and yet unknown to many visitors to the city. Don't miss it. The Archivo de Indias, the Archive of the Indies, was originally designated to be the headquarters of the Casa Lonja de Mercaderes of Seville, where merchants met to conduct businesses. In 1790, King Charles III created the Archivo General de Indias, where all the historical and diplomatic documents related to the Spanish colonies in America and Asia would be kept. The archive contains a large number of historical documents and maps. The visit to the archive is quick. Only researchers have access to the part where the documents are kept. You will walk along the marble corridors of the Renaissance building and feel like you are traveling back in time. In 1987, UNESCO included the Archivo de Indias on the World Heritage List. It is very easy to find the building where the archive is located between the Alcázar and the cathedral. The Catedral de Sevilla, Seville's cathedral, is surprising for its monumentality. It is the largest Gothic cathedral in the world. Work on the cathedral, on the site of a former mosque, began in 1434 and was completed in 1506. During the 16th century, several parts were added to the building, already in Renaissance style. In the cathedral, you will find a mixture of Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque styles. In the immense and spectacular interior of the temple, you should not miss the magnificent main chapel, protected by iron grills. The altarpiece is an exceptional work, considered the largest in Christianity. It contains 28 scenes from the life of Jesus and the Virgin Mary. The second essential part of the cathedral is the magnificent tomb of Columbus, which received the remains of the sailor in 1899. The minaret of the mosque was preserved and received the addition of a body where the cathedral's bell tower was placed. The tower was crowned in 1568 by a statue that served as a weather vane. The weather vane was called the Giralda. This name, initially reserved for the weather vane, was eventually applied to the entire tower, and the weather vane became the Giraldillo. The Giralda is today an icon of Seville and forms part of the same monumental complex as the cathedral. The entrance to the cathedral includes access to the top of the Giralda. The climb is on foot up a very wide ramp. You will leave the cathedral through the Patio de los Naranjos, the patio of the orange trees, a survivor of the old Arab mosque that occupied the space where the cathedral now stands. In 1987, once again, UNESCO declared Seville Cathedral a World Heritage Site. The cathedral is one of the monuments with the longest queues in Seville, so if you don't want to waste valuable time, arrive with your ticket bought in advance. The Cathedral of Seville is in the center of the city, next to the Archivo de Indias and the Alcázar. The importance of ceramics for Seville is similar to that of tiles for Lisbon. Seville has a long history of ceramic production dating back to Roman times. Decorative ceramics have been used for centuries in Andalusian architecture and design. And in Seville, you will find wonderful examples wherever you go, in the streets, in the squares, in the churches, in the monuments. The most important center of pottery production in Seville was in what is now the Triana district, where there were almost 40 pottery kilns. The best place to understand the history and importance of ceramics for Seville is the Centro Cerámica Triana, the Triana Ceramics Center next to the Triana Market, a highly recommended visit. Although there are many Andalusian cities that claim to be the birthplace of flamenco, the truth is that today Seville is one of the most important centers of flamenco in the world. There are numerous flamenco shows, festivals and events in the city throughout the year. And for those who visit Seville, it is very easy to come into contact with this art form included in the UNESCO Intangible Heritage of Humanity list. We are working on a video on flamenco shows here on the channel, but until the video is ready, you should know that you can see flamenco performances in tablaos flamencos for a fee or in informal performances in the street, which can happen at any time and any place, especially when there are many tourists in Seville. Plaza de España is an address where flamenco artists often appear, and in the description of the video we will leave you 2 links to good flamenco shows in the city. The Guadalquivir River is the river of Seville. It is difficult to understand the city without its river, which is a symbol of Seville. Historically, it was very important for the city's economies, since navigation along the river allowed the arrival and departure of goods from the sea. It was also a source of inspiration for artists. As a result of human intervention over the centuries, the course of the river that once bathed Seville is now far from the city. The body of water you will see is actually a dead branch of the main river, an arm known as the Dársena del Guadalquivir or Canal de Alfonso XIII. But that doesn't really matter. The river is now a place to stroll, exercise or have a drink sitting on a terrace on its banks. It is also a very popular place for those who practice the sport of rowing, and if you feel like it, you can take a tour on a tourist boat that goes up and down the river. The most important monument on the riverbank is the Torre del Oro, a defensive tower of Arab origin which today houses a small naval museum and is one of the best known images of Seville. Next to the tower you can see a life-size replica of the Nao Victoria, which commemorates the 500th anniversary of the Round the World voyage and is part of the nearby space dedicated to the adventure. We really don't know if Seville is a Spanish city with the most churches per square meter, but what is certain is that in the city you turn a corner and a church appears. You would need a lifetime to see them all, and here all we're going to do is recommend a selection of 7 churches that we think are worth visiting, either for their artistic or religious importance, or both. The first church you should visit is the Iglesia Colegial del Divino Salvador, the second largest in the city after the cathedral. Its altars and chapels hold pieces of great artistic value. The visit is paid, and the entrance ticket to visit the cathedral also includes a visit to the Church of the Savior. The second church we recommend is in the Hospital de la Caridad, a splendid example of Sevillian Baroque. There is a fee to visit it. We now move on to the Triana neighborhood to enter the Capilla de los Marineros, the Chapel of the Mariners, home to the Brotherhood of the La Esperanza de Triana. The image of Nuestra Señora de la Esperanza is one of the most venerated virgins in Seville. The visit is free of charge. Still in Triana, another important temple is the Real Parroquia de Señora Santa Ana, also popularly known as the Catedral de Triana, the Cathedral of Triana. It is a large Gothic mudéjar temple. You have to pay to visit its interior. Let us now talk about 2 churches that are very dear to Sevillanos. In the Basilica of Jesús del Gran Poder, there is a sculpture of one of Seville's most beloved Christs, dating from 1620. And in the Basilica de la Macarena, whose official name is Basilica de María Santísima de la Esperanza Macarena, there is one of the most venerated images of the Virgin by Sevillans. Both the Jesús del Gran Poder and the visit to the Macarena are free of charge. Finally, a wonderful but not so well-known church, although the visit is free and it is in the center of Seville, is Santa María la Blanca, a temple with beautiful decorative plaster work. All the churches shown are in the historic center or in the Triana neighborhood, and we insist once again, there are many other interesting churches in Seville. Here we present a small selection for first-timers in Seville. The Conjunto Arqueológico de Itálica, the Archaeological Ensemble of Itálica, is the only attraction on our list that is not located within the city of Seville, but in the town of Santi Ponce, 11 kilometers away. But it is such an interesting place and a very easy visit that can be done in less than half a day that we didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk about a place that many people who visit Seville unfortunately don't get to know. You can get to Itálica by bus M170A, which leaves quite frequently from the Plaza de las Armas bus station, or you can go by taxi, Bolt, Cabify or Uber, an interesting option for those traveling in a group. Itálica is one of the most important Roman archaeological sites on the Iberian Peninsula. It recently achieved worldwide fame for being the setting for scenes of the series Game of Thrones, but visiting Itálica goes much further than that. Itálica was the first Roman city in Hispania, and also the first city founded by the Romans outside Italy. Emperors Trajan and Hadrian were born in Italica, and it was during their rule that Italica reached its peak of development. The archaeological site of Italica is quite extensive, but we recommend that you focus your attention on two very important areas: the amphitheater and the houses. The Roman amphitheater of Italica is one of the highlights of the archaeological site. It was one of the largest in the Roman Empire, with a capacity for 25,000 people. Gladiator fights and other spectacles with wild animals were held in the amphitheater. During the reign of Emperor Hadrian, who, as we have seen, was born in Italica, several mansions were built in the city for rich and powerful families. The houses of large dimensions followed the conventional structure of Roman dwellings. Their interior courtyard is in fact the origin of the traditional Andalusian courtyard. Despite the plundering that took place over the centuries, the houses of Italica have preserved valuable Roman mosaics, such as the one in the House of Neptune, almost all in black and white, or the so-called House of the Birds, where one of the most beautiful and delicate mosaics of the site can be seen, representing different species of colored birds. Good news, if you have a European passport, you get free admission to Italica. If not, the entrance fee is very affordable. The Museo de Bellas Artes de Sevilla, the Seville Museum of Fine Arts, was founded as such in 1835, occupying the space of a former convent in the center of Seville. It is a very interesting visit in Seville, both for the building where the museum is located, with beautiful interior cloisters, and for the exceptional collection of Sevillian painting with masters such as Zurbarán, Murillo, and Valdés Leal. As in the case of Italica, if you have a European passport, you can enter free of charge, otherwise the entrance fee is quite affordable. The Parque de María Luisa Park is the most famous park in Seville, and almost everyone who goes to Seville visits it at some point during their stay in the city. And yet, few people actually get to see the park, because most only go to one of its most extraordinary places, the Plaza de España, which we will talk about in the next item on our list. Formerly private gardens, they were donated to the city of Seville in 1893 by the Infanta María Luisa Fernanda de Borbón. On the occasion of the Ibero-American exhibition of 1929, the Plaza de América and the Plaza de España were created in the park. We would like to invite you to set aside some time to stroll through the park and enjoy the peace and quiet you will find there. Especially during the week, the park is much busier at weekends. As we have just mentioned, the main reason people visit the Parque de María Luisa is to see the majestic Plaza de España, Spain Square. The Plaza de España was designed and built to be the ultimate symbol of the Ibero-American Exposition of 1929-1930. The architect responsible for the project was the Sevillian architect Aníbal González, author of numerous works in the city of Seville. His intention was to blend the Art Deco style, which was very fashionable at the time, with a classic Spanish mudéjar style in what is known in Spain as neo-mudéjar. The square is shaped like a half ellipse. Each arm symbolizes Spain's embrace of its former American colonies. To reinforce this connection, the square overlooks the river, which was the historic route to the Americas. At each end of the building stands a 74-meter tower in the Baroque style. The curve of the square is accompanied by a canal spanned by 4 bridges. In the center of the square, there is a large fountain, and the square is a very popular spot for taking photographs. A gallery of arches allows you to stroll along the square. One of the main attractions of the Plaza de España are the 48 tiled niches, each representing a province of Spain. The benches are arranged in alphabetical order, and each one bears the name of the province, the coat of arms, a map, and illustrations of various historical events related to that province. The materials used in the square are typically Spanish: red bricks, tiles and ceramics, marble, and wrought iron ornaments. Particularly noteworthy is the pottery collection, which we have already discussed in the video. Most visitors enter the Plaza de España through the North Tower, take a short walk, and leave. Our recommendation is to walk around the entire square, especially the tiled niches, taking time to browse the arched galleries as well. Try to go to the southern end of the square, as the majority of tourists don't get there, and you can enjoy and see this part of the square at your leisure. The square is free to visit and remains open at the same time as the park, which usually opens at sunrise and closes at the end of the day. The opening hours change throughout the year. The square is easy to reach on foot from the center. On the way, take the opportunity to see the place we're going to talk about next. On the way leading from Seville Cathedral to María Luisa Park stands the immense mass of the former Real Fábrica de Tabacos, the Royal Tobacco Factory of Seville. The Royal Factory is also neighbor to the luxurious Hotel Alfonso XIII, the most luxurious accommodation in Seville. The factory was built in the 18th century and was used as a tobacco factory until the 1950s. At the time of its greatest splendor, it was the largest industrial building in the world. As Seville had a monopoly on all trade with the American continent, when the tobacco plants arrived in Spain, factories were built to process the tobacco plant. Today, the factory houses one of the campuses of the University of Seville. On school days, you can stroll freely through the open spaces inside the old tobacco factory. The Barrio de Santa Cruz, the neighborhood of the Holy Cross, occupies a large part of the historic center of Seville, including the cathedral, the Archive of the Indies and the Alcázar, as well as a labyrinth of narrow streets next to the walls of the Alcázar, which roughly correspond to the old Juderia, the Jewish quarter of the city. Santa Cruz is one of Seville's most picturesque and touristy neighborhoods. Among its winding narrow streets are several charming little squares, such as the Plaza de la Alianza or the Plaza de Doña Elvira. The neighborhood is full of bars and restaurants, but most of them are of the type that cater only to tourists. The Zetas is a magnificent modern construction that leaves no one indifferent. The project was the winner of a competition organized by Seville City Council to redevelop the Plaza de la Encarnación. The structure made it possible to maintain an old food market, preserve archaeological remains found in the subsoil, and add another point of interest to the city. The work was completed in 2011. The project, known today as the Zetas de Sevilla, consists of 6 gigantic mushroom-shaped parasols which give their name to the building. The structure combines wood and concrete. At the top, the parasols are joined together, forming a continuous surface. The point of access to the Zetas viewpoints, a paid visit, is underground. The entrance fee includes a visit to the viewpoints, a wonderful audio-visual presentation called Feeling Sevilla, and the nighttime light show at the top of the structure. Not everyone knows this, but the ticket allows you to enter the Zetas twice in a 40-hour period. You could visit the Zetas during the day and come back later to see the light show, which is very beautiful. At sunset, the viewpoints get very crowded. An hour after sunset, everyone will have left and you will have Las Zetas to yourself. In the basement of Las Zetas, to the right of the ticket office, you will find the Antiquarium, the museum that presents the Roman and Arab archaeological remains that were unearthed when the square was excavated. During the visit, you can see typical elements of life in Roman Seville and several magnificent mosaics. There is a fee to visit the Antiquarium. The entrance fee is separate from that of Las Zetas, but if you have been to the Alcázar, make sure you keep the entrance ticket because it also includes the visit to the Antiquarium. Food is another reason to fall in love with Seville. The delicious tapas and food you can try in Seville's traditional and modern bars are wonderful. And in order to better tell you what to eat and where to eat it, we are already cooking up a video on the channel addressing food in Seville. The video shouldn't take long to be ready, and when it's done, you will see a link appear at the top of the screen. You only have to cross the beautiful Isabel II Bridge, better known as the Triana Bridge, Puente de Triana, to reach the Triana neighborhood. If Santa Cruz is Seville's most touristy neighborhood, Triana is the most iconic. Its popular streets on the bank of the Guadalquivir, opposite the center of Seville, are full of churches, chapels, Christs and Virgins. We have already seen in the video two of its most outstanding churches, the Cathedral of Triana and the Chapel of the Mariners. We also took a walk through the Triana Ceramics Center to learn about the ceramic and tile making tradition for which the neighborhood is famous. Another place in Triana that you must visit is the Triana Market, full of stalls where the locals buy their products, and also small bars where you can take a break along the way. As you will see on the map, almost everything is close by in Triana, not far from the center of Seville. And that's the end of our 16 reasons to fall in love with Seville. Ideas for making the most of your first trip to the capital of Andalusia. You will need a minimum of 2 full days, that is 3 nights in the city, to see the basics, and if you want to include somewhere else like Italica, add an extra night in Seville. If you have any questions about Seville, use the commentary box to ask, we'll be delighted to help. And since you are heading to Seville, to Andalusia, you'll definitely want to check out Cordoba too. We've recorded a video in which we try to convey to you all our passion for Cordoba, and we are already waiting for you in that video.